You are now listening to Ring Kings Boxing on the PRO Media Network.
What's up, boxing world? What's going on? This is Big Q, and you're now listening to Ring Kings Boxing. That's right, boxing. Ring Kings, the latest edition of Ring Kings Boxing, and on Ring Kings Boxing, as always, our boxing expert, Eddie Too Mean Johnson, chiming in. What's going on, Too Mean?
What's happening?
Well, nothing much, my friend. What's going on, man? We're gonna recap this Terrence Crawford versus Jose Benavidez Jr. fight, man. And it went down in a major capacity. Terrence Crawford was able to just be able to take it to this man all night long, bro. He was, and you know, like we said on the preview, I knew Benavidez wasn't really gonna be much work for Terrence Crawford, man. I said that from watching some of his last two previous fights, and of course, you know, the kid was shot in the leg and all this kind of stuff, and he was not mobile in the ring. He even said after the fight that his leg was bothering him. Maybe that was a little sour grapes to try to steal some of the fame from Terrence Crawford. But nonetheless, Terrence Crawford whooped that ass and knocked him out pretty good with a nice sharp uppercut. Eddie, what's your thinking on the fight, man? Terrence Crawford KOing this kid, man, in the 12th round. What's your thoughts on the fight?
Oh yeah, he just picking him apart, man. Kept picking and throwing them fast ass combinations, banging his body up, breaking him down, and getting, you know what I'm saying? He got that kitchen sink he threw at him and then landed. Hit with that kitchen sink and knocked his ass out. Yeah, it was a smart fight. He fought a smart fight, man. You know what I'm saying? The guy, Jose Benavidez, he's a lot of talk. He's like a barking dog with no bite, man. He was talking bad shit, and he ain't do nothing, man. And he was saying that he ain't feel Terrence Crawford's punch. I like, shit, why you ain't go after him then? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But Terrence Crawford just, you know what I'm saying, his box. You know, like I say, he picked him apart and then knocked him out. He was scared to go in there and meat grind, man. That's why he kept, you know what I'm saying, if his punches wasn't hurting him, why the hell is he standing back like that?
Right. And if those punches wasn't hurting his ass, then how'd he got dropped with a pillow punch? I mean, you look at the fight, Terrence Crawford, Bud Crawford's awesome, man. He's now 35-0 with 26 KOs. He's 31 years of age, and he continues to show up big time. Now, Jose Benavidez now drops to 27-1, which is not a bad record, but the man not ready for a guy like Terrence Crawford. That was obvious when you seen they were in the ring. He did all this gesturing, shaking his head like it wasn't hurting him, and all this kind of foolishness, but never could he put any good combinations together to do anything with Terrence Crawford. I mean, it was just, he just outclassed him, outboxed him, out everything. This kid shouldn't have even been in a ring with this man. But, you know, he had a big mouth, and he talked his way into a fight, and he got his ass whooped. Then at the other end, he did give him some credit, but then discredited his power. Man don't knock you out. Okay, if he went to 12 rounds and said, well, I felt his power wasn't all that. But the man he dropped you and then clobbered you. And then the fight didn't end because you know y'all boxed in the 12th. The fight was in because the referee stepped in. It was a stoppage in the last round. So I mean,
that goes to show you that shit. You was just talking shit, man. How the hell you not feel a punch and you get knocked out? I mean, come on, that right there show you that he's just talking shit and making excuses.
Well, he ain't gonna be a champion, bro, making excuses like that. Jose Benavidez got his whole ass whipped by Terrence Crawford in this fight, and we called it, man, before the fight went on. I don't have to run down the CompuBox stats and showed you how impressive Terrence Crawford was against this guy. I don't have to tell you that. But now that the fight's over and we picking ahead, at the end of the fight, Bob Arum was in the ring with Terrence Crawford, and Bob Arum said that Terrence Crawford, which if you don't know who Bob Arum is, the top ranked boxing, that's Bob Arum. So he would fight 3 times next year in 2019. So Terrence Crawford's going to fight 3 times next year. And of course, Arum says he's the best thing going. He is the closest thing to a Mayweather in his heyday that you could find as Terrence Crawford. Who to you would be a good fight coming up? Because these welterweights like to talk shit. They run from each other. It is unlike any other class in the whole boxing world as the welters. Everybody running from each other. They don't want to fight each other. They just talking crap back and forth. After the fight, you hear Errol Spence running his mouth. He don't don't have a fight lined up, but he running his mouth about Terrence Crawford. You got Sean Porter just took a guy out for the belt. Now he got a mandatory. They're trying to get a mandatory fight with him and Keith Thurman. And Keith Thurman also running his mouth about Terrence Crawford. So, I mean, you got all these guys with belts, but they run their mouth, but they don't want to step in the ring with each other. Who do you think the next fight should be against Terrence Crawford?
I like to see Terrence Crawford go up against Sean Porter. You know what I'm saying? Okay. And then the winner of that fights the other champ, Errol Spence. Right. I think they just try to build it up to be a big, super pay-per-view bout. You know what I'm saying? That's why I think they try to build it up to. It's like Mayweather did with Pacquiao. They was talking about it. Fight never happened, and they kept talking about it, and then eventually it happened. It was the biggest fight. You know what I'm saying, on pay-per-view. I think that's what they're attempting to do, but we'll see. But like I say, the champ's supposed to fight, Chad. You know what I'm saying? There's only supposed to be one dog on the block. one top dog on the block, man. There's too many top dogs, man. They should come up with a tournament like how they did with Andre Ward when he won the tournament, middleweight. Definitely have a tournament so they can see who's the best in the welterweight.
They wanted to do that, and it's interesting to see if they can do that. But I think definitely, I know the light heavyweights, those guys have a tournament that they fight. That's not an issue. The welterweights are a major issue. It's a problem, and they definitely need a tournament. And I remember hearing that they're definitely working on putting a tournament together to get rid of all this rigmarole. So that will solve a lot of problems. So you're listening to Ring Kings boxing expert Eddie Too Mean Johnson chiming in with us. As always, if you like the program, subscribe to the channel and share the show as well as for Ring Kings Boxing.